Just resuscitated from suspended animation aboard the Discovery 1, it's the DigiGods. Please welcome two critics who have not aged in 30 years, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Corey, is that really how you feel? I mean, I feel pretty good. I don't know, 30 years, I feel pretty good. Is that how you feel?
Not that I can tell how much someone has aged by listening to a voice. Reference. You two seem to often refer to celebrities who have not, quote, aged in 30 years, close quote.
Well, fine. So, in that case, Corey, who was responsible for sending that one in?
That was sent in by Phil Vader, who included lots of helpful notes, all of which we just read out loud. You're welcome, Phil.
I had a conversation with Corey.
You did. It was as if he was really here.
I enjoy doing that. It's silly, but I like doing it.
Wait, I'm on LinkedIn right now.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to find a job.
Oh, yeah.
Hate my job. Yeah. By the way, so I was on LinkedIn the other day, and I got a invitation, to contacts, connections, whatever, with my ex-girlfriend Brenda.
Oh, I think I remember Brenda.
She was the one who was Anthony Hopkins' personal trainer.
Yes. That whole thing. Yes. That episode.
We had a horrible breakup, and she just tried to connect with me on LinkedIn, and it says accept, ignore. It's got to be ignore.
Really? You're gonna really?
It's weird. She was like borderline.
Yeah, but
she had like borderline personality. If I accept it, I mean, who knows what she'll think? She'll probably think I want to get back together. She'll start calling me 5 times a day.
Oh, that wouldn't be good.
No, because I have a girlfriend who's only 5,000 miles away in Paris. She'll be here, by the way, the week of July 9th.
Oh, terrific.
Oh yeah, be here for a week and a half.
Yeah. Well, I will be in Jordan.
We talked about that last week.
Yes,
I still think that's a joke.
It's not. My ticket has been bought. My ticket is bought. I'm flying Emirates. I don't exactly know where. We've got we're having a departure meeting of sorts, talking about what actually this week, end of this week.
So what? So you don't know where you're flying into?
I'm assuming I'm going to fly into Amman. That's the only place you fly into in Jordan. That's where Emirates flies. So I'll be flying into Amman, and then it's about a 50-mile drive due east of Amman. So
now, are you going to live in the refugee camp?
I have no clue.
They put you up in like Four Seasons while the kids are eating their iPad because they can't eat?
I have no clue.
Now, will you teach the kids in the refugee camps while they're eating their gruel with no clothes on how to be Zack Snyder?
Yeah, there you go. No, I don't often talk about this, but my mother was a war refugee, so I do have some affinity for people who've been through that ordeal, and I would like to believe that I have a few things I've learned on this podcast that I will convey to them. So yeah.
Now, can the kids sell the iPad on eBay? So they can clothe themselves.
Stop. No, it's one of these days you will eat all of those jokes when one of these kids grows up, and
what? If one of them grows up, I'll
makes an
iPad.
Extraordinary movie. One of these kids is going to grow up and make maybe many of them, and make an extraordinary movie about their experiences, and it will be Oscar nominated, and people will
cry. Thank you,
and they will, and you know what?
I would like to thank Wade Major.
I don't need thanks, but hopefully this helps them get out of dry dock and realize that that their stories mean something, and that they can share them with other people. So, in any case, yeah, enough. I thought I was the cynical one, and anyway. So let's talk about a little bit of music right off the top of the show.
Music.
Yeah, do some music. And,
Holy Christ!
Yeah, we got some classical stuff too. So let me make mention really quickly. I'll let Mark do some rock and roll here in a moment. We've got 3 interesting titles that come from Shout Factory, part of Shout Broadway. They are doing, and I hope they do more of these. Actually, they're releasing Blu-rays of Broadway musicals, and they got 3 really really good ones. Brent Barrett and Rachel York in the revival of Kiss Me Kate, which is terrific. If you love Cole Porter, it's timeless. It's absolutely terrific. This is not like a recent revival, but it's relatively recent, from 1999. The original Tony-winning musical was from 1949, so this was sort of on the 50th anniversary of Kiss Me Kate. And for those who don't know, Kiss Me Kate is The Taming of the Shrew, done as a Cole Porter musical, and it's a lot of fun. It's really, really a lot of fun. It's just a beautiful revival. And then they have Hugh Jackman in Oklahoma. And that guy just does not freaking age, man. I know he's all kind of crusty looking in Logan, but really, he still looks
awesome.
good. He still looks great.
I think he's awesome.
He's a lot younger here, but he's still just
he's kind of underappreciated, actually.
He's the Hugh Jackmaniest. He's just great. And it's really fun. There's a featurette on this as well, and he just kills it. You know, he disappears into every role he does, and he's like he's a musical theater treasure. And then the last one here is an actual movie, but they are releasing it as part of the Shout Broadway line, which I think is probably kind of smart. And this is the film version of Man of La Mancha with Peter O'Toole, Sophia Loren, and James Coco, Mark's favorite.
James Coco!
Mark loves James
Sweet.
Coco. Arthur Hiller directed this, and which is a little unusual and strange to think of, but he did indeed. And you know what? It's not... Man of La Mancha has always been a bit of a weird stage production. Peter O'Toole is kind of a strange Don Quixote. Sophia Loren is perfect in everything she does. She's just impossible to cast poorly. But you know what? The movie still is a lot of fun to watch, and it hails from just the tail end of the great musical eras, 1972. It was overshadowed that year by Fiddler on the Roof, which was a far superior musical. But that was kind of the end of the musical era, really, 1972. It sort of wafted then into Grease and, you know, more modern musicals, but the sort of traditional show tune musical, you're kind of there at the tail end with Oliver and Funny Girl, and then this movie and Fiddler. But
again, it all ended with Cabaret.
Cabaret really was Cabaret was kind of
great.
I would almost argue Cabaret is a transition point, to be honest. But that is, of course, also 1972. So that's 72 is the year. I should teach a class on that. I'd love to teach a class.
Well, you should teach it in Jordan.
That's what I should do.
Refugee kids.
So Man of La Mancha with Peter O'Toole, Sophia Loren, James Coco from Shout on Blu-ray, along with the revival of Kiss Me Kate and Oklahoma with Hugh Jackman. Really terrific. Let's hope more stuff comes out from Shout Broadway.
Wade, we have a little CD to talk about. Remember CDs?
Yeah.
Put it in your CD player. Not that you have one of those. Simple Minds, acoustic in concert. Simple Minds, if you do not know them, they were bigger in the 80s when they had that great song from Breakfast Club, Don't You Forget About Me. But they had other hits too, including Sanctify Yourself, which I do remember, Alive and Kicking, which kind of sounds like Don't You Forget About Me, and some other stuff too. Here they are in 2016 singing their songs acoustic, which is kind of a cool thing. So if you like them or you miss them, this is kind of a good way to introduce yourself to them. Simple Minds, acoustic in concert. Then we have like a weird thing going on here called Rocktopia. Rocktopia is a very strange combination of classic rock and like opera. It's these one-of-a-kind arrangements featuring, works by like Beethoven and Handel and Mozart, but the arrangements were done by rock bands like Foreigner and Heart and Journey and
That
Styx.
sounds like something that would be either horrible or really awesome.
It's sort of both.
Okay.
Some of these you're like, I guess if this is probably the only way I could ever sit through an opera.
From Budapest.
Yes.
Why was this in Budapest?
Well, this was recorded at the Hungarian State Opera. So, yes, it was.
I've been there.
You have not.
Yeah, I have actually.
You've been in the Hungarian State Opera.
Yeah. Yeah, went to a couple of concerts when I was there for my birthday many years ago, when my wife took me there for a significant birthday. Let's just say this was about a decade ago, but for a significant birthday. Anyway, yeah, no, actually, I mean it's really old, but yeah, it's a nice venue. All right, wow.
Anyway, it's
Huh.
definitely something for the those in your family with adventurous musical tastes.
Very nice. Bunch of stuff from Naxos here. Really cool stuff from Naxos. Let me get through this as quickly and expeditiously as I can because Mark always rides me for doing the classical stuff. Stola Kleiberg.
Oh,
Stola Kleiberg.
I'll be honest.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
All of our listeners right now, they're riveted.
Yeah.
They cannot wait to hear more.
So
about
Stola Kleiberg, composer I'm not that familiar with, but Mass for the Modern Man. This is a Blu-ray audio. Very, very nice. I'm not a huge fan of masses. Like the Missa Solemnis by Beethoven is probably the one that I can tolerate the best because it's Beethoven. But this is by the Trondheim Symphony Orchestra and Choir. As far as modern masses go, this is quite lovely. Then we've also got Verdi's Otello in a new production from the Macerata Opera Festival. It's Otello. It's Verdi's Otello. It's terrific. It's great. Every production is more or less pretty great. This one is too. And that is from Dynamic. This is also from Dynamic is Donizetti's Rosmonda. I'm not familiar with it. I'm vaguely familiar with Donizetti. They've sent us a lot of Donizetti lately, so he appears to be a guy who's getting a little bit of attention. This is kind of an avant-garde interpretation of the opera. I have a hard time kind of following it, but for opera fans, it's it's decent. We also have a Blu-ray DVD combo set from Marinsky of the Golden Cockerel. Which is from Rimsky-Korsakov for those who are big fans of Rimsky-Korsakov opera. This also is a kind of an avant-garde interpretation. Didn't really work for me. I'm not a huge fan of Russian opera necessarily, but for those who like it, go for it. Knock yourselves out. John Cage, The Works for Percussion, with Bonnie Whiting. This is called Music for Speaking Percussionist, and it's kind of it's four different pieces that were specifically written by John Cage as kind of workshops for percussion, as I understand it. And there's also a 73-minute interview on here with Whiting and percussionist Alan Ott, who's a bit of an expert on Cage, which helps explain this. It's a little bit, if you're not a major artsy percussionist, it won't mean much to you. Prokofiev's Cinderella, absolutely fantastic and beautiful. This is from Opus Arte, done by the Dutch National Ballet. Can't get enough. I watched the Disney Cinderella again the other day, by the way. We had family in town, obviously, for my mother-in-law's birthday, and everybody wanted to watch Cinderella. What a great movie that is. What a great movie that is.
Yeah, and then when she dies.
Not the animated, the new live-action one from a couple of years ago.
Oh, really? Is that what you meant?
The Kenneth Branagh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the animated one sucks.
The animated one kind of dates poorly, doesn't it? It does. Okay. It does a little bit. But Branagh, I want him to make more movies. I love Kenneth Branagh. I really do.
Murder on the Orient Express.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it. Is that weird?
So am I.
I am too.
Even though it has Johnny Depp, who I'm getting sick of now.
Well, even though Branagh's playing Poirot himself, which I find a little bit odd, but, do you realize that no one who has ever played Poirot is actually French? Like, no one has ever played Poirot who is French. They've all been English actors. It's bizarre.
Well, same with Superman.
Yeah.
And Batman.
That's right. Anyway, by the way, my daughter is obsessed with Batman all of a sudden. Do you know this? Because when we were putting the mock documentary together for my mother-in-law, which I mentioned last week, she's actually in Batman Returns, and I do a little bit in there. It's very, very funny. You have to see this. I've got to show it to you because I have a bit where after where they show the newspaper where Penguin forgives his parents, and then the newspaper comes up and says Penguin forgives parents, and there's a whole crowd scene, and she's floating around in that crowd. And I actually have voiceover from I think it was Michael Reschaffen at that point, who's talking about how amazed he was by her performance in Batman Returns. And I freeze frame and draw a little red circle around her face, just masked somewhere in the back of the crowd. It's very, very funny.
How did she wind up in that film?
Extra. She's an extra. She was an extra in it. It's very funny. That was part of the joke of the mock documentary, was her career as an extra. Anyway, Blu-ray of the complete Brahms symphonies with Thomas Hengelbrock. And this also includes some documentary stuff on here where Hengelbrock talks about Brahms. But honestly, I'm not that familiar with Hengelbrock. But the complete Brahms symphonies, which is all whopping 4 of them, it's not like Haydn or Mozart or anything, is lovely. So they're great symphonies, and this is a great Blu-ray to appreciate them. And the last 3, New York City Ballet in Paris, is a perfect gift for any ballet fan. You will absolutely love it. Mozart's Die Zauberflöte, otherwise known as the Magic Flute, previously done in an amazing film version by Ingmar Bergman, and then also a version by Kenneth Branagh, who we were just talking about. This is done by the Teatro alla Scala Accademia and choir and orchestra, staged by Peter Stein. It's not the greatest version you've ever seen of the Magic Flute, but it's the music's amazing. So pretty much any version is always going to thrill you. And then there is Verdi's Requiem Mass, otherwise known as the Messa de Requiem, with Gustavo, our own local Gustavo Dudamel, the Los Angeles Master Chorale, the LA Philharmonic, at the Hollywood Bowl, and that's beautiful. And that brings me to what I'm going to talk about right now. I was at the Hollywood Bowl to see the live La La Land just a few weeks ago.
Of course you were.
And it was amazing. Could I say that? It was absolutely amazing.
Did Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling show up?
No. They did not. But the night after, believe it or not, it's very funny, Francois Truffaut, director of the Colcoa Film Festival here, City of Lights, City of Angels, City of Lights, which City of Lights, City of Angels, which you were on the jury this last year. And Francois did a bit for me in the mock documentary as well. Do you realize I got Malton and Rayner and Claudia and Christy Lemire and Michael Reschaff, and all of them did little bits for my mock documentary.
Wait, so Bob Strauss would have been funny.
Bob Strauss?
Yes.
I couldn't get to Bob Strauss.
God damn it.
I got to Leonard Maltin. But in any case, the night after I went, Francois went and sat 1 box away from Emma Stone and took pictures of her. She was waving to him.
Wow.
Isn't that great? It's fantastic.
You could have had your picture taken with Emma Stone.
Well, in any case, but no, it was absolutely amazing. This was the La La Land live, and it was stunning. It was absolutely stunning. It's what they do at the Hollywood Bowl, and they've done this with The Nightmare Before Christmas. They've done it with some Disney animated films as well, where the film plays, and then you get to the musical numbers, and they are performed live for you. And here, even though the songs are still sung, they're being sung in the movie, all the orchestra, all the musical stuff, the piano, the jazz, that is all done live on stage. And Justin Hurwitz was there conducting, and it was amazingly tight. I wish I understood how they pull off some of these tricks, because I think there has to be a digital way of syncing the movie to the orchestra as opposed to the other way around. Otherwise, I can't imagine it. It's just too difficult.
Wait, so because
they have monitors, but it's just they were so tight. It was just so beautiful.
So they stripped away all of the orchestration and just kept the vocals.
Correct. Yeah.
And then the musicians.
When you think about the technical challenges of doing that, it's quite a feat.
I think it's gonna win Best Picture.
Oh, shut up. No, and the other great thing they always do is that they sort of embellish it with fireworks at certain points, like when there are fireworks and someone in the crowd at the end of it, fireworks go off for real from the dome of the bowl. So and you get a lot of lighting effects and things. Having seen a number of these things at the bowl, I gotta say this is. Apart from Nightmare Before Christmas, which they have had many years to fine-tune, Danny Elfman and all the original voice artists, this is about as tight and as impressive a production as I've ever seen at the Bowl. It was really very impressive. Very, very nice. Really
I went to
stuff.
the Simpsons one.
Did you? How was that?
It was okay.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Well, speaking of that, let's see. So that's it for music. Let us get into television. Mark, we have 2 giant bricks over here.
I mean, that thing is one of the biggest box sets I've ever seen. And it's for a show no one cares about. I mean, this show just limped along for like 10 seasons.
We are talking about Bones, which, if you just want to get the final chapter of Bones Nearly Departed is out, and that'll cap it off for you. If you've just straight up neglected to actually get anything from Bones, waiting for the box set, oh boy. So we have here the Flesh and Bones collection of Bones, and this thing is a monster.
It's one of the biggest box sets I've ever seen.
Feel the weight of this. Feel the weight of this. Feel how heavy this is.
Well, there's like 12 seasons of this stupid show.
It's ridiculous. This is insane. But anyway, here it is. The Flesh
Who
and
watched this show?
This
is one of the shows. I guarantee this is one of those shows that probably did okay domestically, but they just found a way to monetize the crap out of it overseas, and they just kept going with it.
Emily Deschanel is wonderful. She is, of course, Caleb Deschanel's daughter, and the sister of Zoe Deschanel, who is the new girl. So, Emily Deschanel is terrific on this. I hope now that the show is over, I hope she goes on to bigger and better things, because she deserves to. She really has. She's been trapped in television for 12 years. Time to go do features. So hop to it, Emily. But yeah, this includes a thing here, called Back to the Lab, a Bones retrospective, which is seriously, these people have lived on this show for 12 years. And he was on Buffy before that. I mean,
he was?
Yeah, he was on Buffy before that. So in any case, wow, yeah, quite a thing. Tons and tons of extras, more than I could possibly even be willing to spend time with. Gobs and gobs of featurettes and deleted scenes and gag reels and all this stuff. It goes on and on and on. So if you really love this show, boy, are you in for a treat. And you can also use this thing to flatten meat. If you need to pound, like make a paella out of some chicken, this'll do it. This big honking thing, just drop it on the chicken and it is flat.
I just want to meet the person who's watched all 12 seasons worth of Bones and has to own that.
Yeah, well, you know what?
They're out there.
They're out there. There are people who love that show.
Now, speaking of people who love that show.
Okay. Star Trek. We're not talking about Star Trek. No, we're not. But it's kind of related to Star Trek. Because, you see, when Star Trek infuriated everybody after being canceled after 3 seasons, and everyone was enraged and they were upset, and what are you thinking of, NBC? Why did you cancel Star Trek? Why did you do this to Gene Roddenberry and the fans? You took Star Trek off the air. What could you possibly put in its place? What could you possibly put in Star Trek's place that would be as good? Well, as it turns out, another legendary show. And that show is, Mark?
Laugh-In.
Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. That's right. Laugh-In is now out, the complete series. Another honkin' box set. It didn't run 12 seasons, though. It ran from 1968 to 1973, won Emmys, won tons of awards, and all 140 episodes from that 5-year run are now here in this fantastic set. Now, there's something. Now, I want to point something out here too. They claim here that Laugh-In, in the notes that accompany this, they claim that Laugh-In was a replacement for The Man from U.N.C.L.E. on Mondays at 8 p.m. But you see, that's not quite correct. And
the story is that it replaced Star Trek after Star Trek got canceled.
Yes, correct. So it gets into some nuances. There are some weeds about this, but for the sake of that, I get it. They don't want to claim that they're the ones that bumped Star Trek. So fine, you replace The Man from U.N.C.L.E. on Mondays at 8 p.m. Fair enough. But the reason that Star Trek was canceled was to make way for Laugh-In. So regardless of all the other details, time slots, and so forth, the actual story here is that Star Trek was canceled for the birth of Laugh-In. So the resources and the money could be directed at Laugh-In. They wanted to put the energies toward Laugh-In. So, Star Trek bounced around in its time slot as well. And I get a little, I'm not fond of when they try to spin history that way, because I think most people know Laugh-In is what bumped Star Trek out of the lineup. That's essentially the story.
Well, that and the fact that nobody was watching Star Trek.
Yeah, they were. The 3rd season was a bit of a mess, though.
Oh, Spock's brain.
Yeah, Turnabout Intruder, baby.
Oh, my God.
There's no room for women in your Starfleet.
It's horrible.
Anyway. So yes, here's what you get with this thing. This is just an absolutely fantastic box set. Everything looks gorgeous. Great transfers. I'm hoping a Blu-ray comes at some point too. But 32-page collector's book. Tons and tons of extras here. These are all taken from the original broadcast masters, and the complete show, the complete series, has never been available before. And this is really historic. It is fantastic. You get interviews with everybody, including Ruth Buzzy and Dick Martin. You get the pilot episode, a tribute to George Schlatter, which is really sweet. Bloopers, a lot of great stuff. It is this is television history. It is a significant show. It really paved the way for a lot of other shows to come. I don't think we would have a Saturday Night Live if not for Laugh-In.
Yeah, it definitely paved the way for those satirical, late night, irreverent.
I don't think we would have politicians basically making fools of themselves on television if not for Laugh-In, because we forget it was Nixon who said "sock it to me." Nixon had to go on Laugh-In. Laugh-In became such a pop culture phenomenon. Nixon, in order to soften himself, to soften his image, he went on Laugh-In and said "sock it to me."
And yet it didn't work because he's still Nixon.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So anyway, beautiful box set, beautiful, colorful box set, and everything Laugh-In you could possibly hope for. So that is really, really quite a treat.
Goldie Hawn, of course, got her.
That's right. Goldie Hawn got her start there, and then won an Oscar for Cactus Flower. Crazy, right? Cactus Flower, Oscar winner, Goldie Hawn. So anyway.
We did that.
Yes, I know we did. So yeah, let's.
I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you this is around because I have not watched the entire season. But this is South Park, the 20th season, and I'm under the impression that the show is just as funny as ever. Matt and Trey, as you know, have a very unusual way of working. They crank out an episode in a week, and if you work for them during the season, you are with them 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, sleeping under your desk in order to make their deadlines.
Are they ever going to do a feature film again, or are they just in South Parkness? Because I mean, come on, Team America is so beloved. Don't they have another one of those in them? Something.
Well,
something.
Don't they even have a TV show? I mean, they had nothing else in them. I mean, they had the Broadway show.
Yeah,
but
their Broadway. I mean, when you consider, I mean, I don't know what Too many years have gone by. Do a feature.
Basketball. They can have.
Yeah, but they didn't. Did they write and direct that? I guess they did, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. That was dreadful.
That was dreadful.
That was really bad. I take it back. Don't do basketball. Don't do that. A little bit of vintage.
Actually, it was directed by David Zucker.
Okay. See.
Written by Matt and Trey.
Okay.
And starring Matt and Trey.
Yeah, and I knew that. Gosh, that was a terrible movie. Okay, a little bit of classic TV here real quickly. Michael Landon in Highway to Heaven, Messages from Above.
Oh, God.
This is a number of Highway to Heaven specials. And this is from Mill Creek. This is, just if you want to kind of, watch a few random episodes that include the likes of a very, 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 very young Josh Brolin and a very young Paul Walker and, other assorted guest stars who are going to go on to much bigger and better things. Highway to Heaven, it was a thing in its day. And then Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, the complete series.
That thing was a phenomenon for like eight seconds, then it went away.
I know. It was a game too, right? People played it on the computer. This is 40 episodes. Not a, it was a moment. It had its time. And it's okay. It doesn't really age very well, I don't think. But if you want a little touch of nostalgic kitsch, then go for it. We keep getting Hee Haw special releases. This one is Hee Haw. Pfft, you is gone. That's PFFT exclamation point for those that need a spelling for Pfft. Hee Haw, of course, as we all know, was basically the rural version of Laugh-In. And it did very well with it. It figured Laugh-In is a little bit too hip and sophisticated and urban and too New York and L.A. for the people in the heartland. So we're going to give them the likes of Minnie Pearl instead of the likes of Goldie Hawn.
I was flipping the channels the other day. Speaking of which, flipping the channels.
Yeah.
And I saw something I didn't even know existed.
What?
The Jimmy Dean Show.
Yeah.
From 1957 to 19.
Absolutely, one of the
75.
great variety shows. Jimmy Dean, not Jimmy Dean the sausage guy, but Jimmy Dean the country singer guy who was.
The sausage wasn't the sausage guy.
No, he's not the same guy.
He looks like the sausage guy.
He's not the same guy. This is Jimmy Dean. He was a singer and actor, and he was on many episodes of Daniel Boone.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a good show. I remember it. I remembered it very well.
What? It was before you were born.
No,
1957.
Reruns, buddy.
Okay.
It's not like that. Yeah.
Where did that?
I remember
recently?
I remember Milton Berle's Buick Hour too. That was before.
Texaco Star Theater.
I saw all that stuff, man.
This is Bob Hope.
They reran that. They reran all that stuff late at night.
9/11. How about that?
Yeah, all late at night. I mean, like K-Cal, which at the time was
K-Cal, K.
It was KHJ TV.
KHJ.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Can you believe I remember that?
My child.
Yeah.
KHJ.
Dating ourselves. All that stuff in rerun. The only stuff that they never reran, which I was really bummed about, was the Burns and Allen TV show. They never reran that for some strange reason. Anyway, great performances on here. Marty Robbins, Merle Haggard, Dolly Parton, George Jones, Tammy Wynette. It's good. Hee Haw, Pfft, you was gone. All right.
I'm looking up KHJ.
KHJ. Oh no. Okay. Well, while you're doing KHJ, I'm going to do some British TV. How's that? You okay with that, Mark?
General Tire changed its new television station's call letters to KHJ in 1951. One former employee referred to the call letters as standing for kindness, happiness, and joy.
Are you serious?
Although the call sign was likely randomly assigned.
I'm
sure that's not true.
So PBS had a recent installment of Masterpiece, King Charles III, which is quite good. A little bit more staid than I expected it to be, which I later would discover that's partly because it's based on a Broadway production that starred Tim Pickett-Smith. But this is quite good, actually, just as far as the legacy stuff, the historical stuff that they're often doing on PBS these days, and and on Netflix. We got The Crown, and it's Victoria on PBS, on and on and on. So plugging all of the holes in this is King Charles III, which is very, very interesting. Mike Bartlett wrote the original stage play. Tim Pickett-Smith starred in it, and he reprises his role here. And this is quite interesting. This is a basically speculative legacy drama. And the idea is that Prince Charles ascends to the throne on the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth. And this speculates about what that would consist of. So it is trying to sort of extend what we know from the King's Speech, and we've seen all of these things.
It's sort of like Amazon's Man in the High Castle, but not as dramatic.
Not quite.
Not as post-apocalyptic.
Not as post-apocalyptic. It's really sort of using the future to reflect on the now a little bit, and it does it in a very, very interesting way, in a very intelligent way. And I wish it were a little bigger in scale. I wish it weren't quite so much of a play. I wish it didn't feel like quite so much of a play. But that said, it is still very, very smart and well written. So that is King Charles III. We also have Midsomer Murders, Series 19, Part 1. I'm very disappointed that they're doing the Part 1, Part 2 thing that we get ad nauseum with a lot of Paramount releases here. But this is 4 very, very fine mysteries, part of the Midsomer Murders mystery series from Acorn. And they are well written and engaging, especially this one called Last Man Out, which deals with the murder of a cricket player. Honestly, and I'm not kidding. You're like, oh, great, murdered cricket player. It's good. Yeah. No, it really is actually really, really cool. I thought I was getting ahead of this one, and I didn't. It was very, very smart. And I'm not a fan of cricket. I'm a fan of rugby, not a fan of cricket.
But you're a fan of baseball.
Yeah, I could sit and only because I get to eat. I'm a fan
of the Mets are.
Are they doing well?
No.
Okay. And then we get an Acorn TV original, Series 1 of Striking Out, which is it's a legal procedural set in Dublin, and it's very, very good. I'm not quite sure where this is all going to go. The characters are appealing and the writing is solid, and we'll see. There's some behind-the-scenes stuff here that looks like this could be a thing. So let's hope this continues to go into some interesting places. Good cast. I always like seeing good British actors. And Irish actors, because you know that they're going to show up in Hollywood movies playing superheroes and stealing all the roles from American actors in about 5 years.
But before that happens,
Deservedly.
Wow.
So there we go. All right. What else we got here?
Workaholics. I never liked this show, Wade.
No?
What is up with Workaholics?
I don't know. I don't watch it.
Well, I don't watch it either. But all we can do is tell you that the complete series is now on DVD, Comedy Central. Get a grip. So audio commentary, bloopers, some alternate takes and deleted scenes, a rap reel, which is always kind of fun. Is for alcoholics. Comedy Central.
Yeah.
Exactly. 86 episodes, Wade.
Oh my gosh. It ran that long?
Just
seriously. Feels like it started like a year ago. Didn't it?
It is one of those under the radar culty Comedy Central things.
All right. Okay, so Incorporated. Did you watch Incorporated?
Oh no! Oh, that was one that Affleck and Damon.
Yeah.
No, it looked terrible.
Yeah, but it is terrible. But why are they doing this? Do you know the story on this?
I did not.
I tried to figure out, because it's like, okay, as a team, they don't do much, really. They don't write anything together anymore.
They're not a producing team.
They do Project Greenlight. They don't really do a lot of stuff. And then this thing comes out of the blue, and it's like Incorporated. And it's it's a kind of a near apocalyptic future thing where corporations kind of run everything.
It sounds stupid. It sounds like something in the Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock would have started in the 80s.
It's like the Net meets Logan's Run, kind of, sort of. But it doesn't. I mean, I don't. It like you watch this and you're just like, this is just. Anybody could have produced this. Why did you have to put your names on this? I don't get it. It's really a mystery to me.
It is. I'm not sure what.
I don't really even want to talk about this. I find it just so fascinating that, with all the opportunities that they have to put their names on something, to brand themselves as a team beyond Project Greenlight, that it was this. I mean, they're smart guys. Why? What?
I don't know what they. I don't know. I don't know why there was. Maybe it was their idea. Or maybe they're trying to get their buddy's idea made.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Or maybe they're finally going to admit they're gay.
Well, not that that's a bad thing. Seinfeld joke. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? That was the Seinfeld joke. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Way to screw that up big time.
I messed up the joke.
Well done.
Not that I was reaching into the grab bag. Okay, so we have. We got a few other things, a few other TV things here. Grey Lady with Eric Dane, Natalie Z or Zia. Is it Zia? How do you pronounce it? And Amy Madigan.
I've never heard of her.
Okay, but you know who Eric Dane is.
Yeah. He was the guy
on Grey's
from
Anatomy. He was.
And he's on The Last Ship. He was the guy who shut down production of The Last Ship because he was suffering from depression.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That is true.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, Eric Dane came on to Grey's Anatomy to offset McDreamy, and he was like McSteamy? Is that what they called him? McSweaty?
Why do you know this?
I don't know.
Tell me do you watch Grey's Anatomy? You do, don't you?
I did for about 4 seasons, pretty religiously.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. What can I say? It was on at the right. It was Sunday nights. There was nothing else going on. You sit there.
Read a book. Watch a ball game.
Listen to you, Mr. Intellectual. Okay, so anyway, Grey Lady is okay. Eric Dane is fine. This is a police procedural, basically. Doesn't really deserve to become a series. I think the idea was that this was supposed to become a series at some point. But in any case, it's he plays a Boston detective whose partner is killed, and then you got to go and try to solve it, as they often do. Anyway, and it becomes a little cat and mouse and cat thing, and it's Eric Dane is a decent actor, but could be better. Anyway, then we have a new movie this week. The only new opener is Chips. And Mark, who is falling asleep in front of me.
I have to be at work at 5 a.m.
I'm sorry.
That means that I have to wake up.
I have a 4-year-old.
I wake up at 4. Okay, but here's the thing.
I wake up at 5.
I wake up at 4:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Get to the office at
That's
4:45 in the morning, and then it is a nonstop rocket slide until we do a live show at 9 a.m. So imagine coming to work at 5 in the morning and having to do the Today Show live in 4 hours. That's my day.
That's not
I am
fun.
so effing tired.
Well, so real quickly then,
Chips, terrible, awful. Well, I mean, come on, you know what?
But you know what?
You know,
it's still better than Baywatch.
You know when you saw the trailer, Chips would be terrible because it was just a bunch of homophobic jokes. Like, really, that's the best you got?
You know, but here's the thing. Why is it? And I said this on the radio when we covered Baywatch, and Baywatch, by the way, it's really terrible. Even though Dwayne Johnson's great in it, but like the first big joke in Baywatch is that a guy. It's always the Jewish jokes, right? It's like the one has gay jokes, the other one has Jewish jokes, and it's the Jewish kid, and of course there's a bar mitzvah joke, and he sees the actress who's playing the Pamela Anderson role, the CJ part, right? And he's so hot for her, and he gets aroused and then trips and falls onto a beach chair and gets his junk stuck in the slats, and then there's a whole thing about like emergency first aid to get him unstuck from the slats. Now, seriously, it took like 5 screenwriters to come up with that? Are you kidding me? Come on.
That's hilarious, Wade. You just don't know comedy.
Between Chips and Baywatch, here's my question. Didn't these guys pay any attention to 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street?
Those are funny.
They're hilarious. Those are great. Anyway. Okay. Cannes Film Festival, Best Director, Amat Escalante for Heli, Heli, which is a gripping Mexican film that is almost very difficult to watch. This is from Strand, and it is yet another birth of a very, very talented Mexican director who is certain to have a Hollywood career, all centered around the drug war, which just shows no signs of stopping. It's like half that country is owned by the drug cartels at this point. And the character Heli is a kid with who gets involved in the drug war because of his sister, and it winds up basically having just the most horrifying effect on friends and family and everyone around them. Really an incredibly well done film, very, very deserving of its awards. Beautifully transferred by the Strand people on Blu-ray, and Strand does not release a lot of films on Blu-ray, so pay attention to that fact. And then Wang Bing, Chinese director, made a film called Three Sisters, which I find very interesting. This is from Icarus, who really found kind of a gem here. The movie was made in 2012 and had not been picked up or released by anybody since. I believe Icarus may have released it at the time theatrically, so it certainly was their discovery at the time, but it has not been snatched away by anybody else, and my guess is that the rights may have been available for somebody else to distribute. In any case, 2012 film, 2.5 hours long, and sort of a very, very gripping look. It's a documentary film. It's a gripping look at 3 sisters who live in this incredibly backwards mountain part of China where nothing has changed in like 2 centuries. It's in Yunnan province, and it is so difficult, and it's amazing that they were able to get a camera crew there and hang with them and sort of detail their lives. Really just a profoundly touching and powerful movie, gripping for the full run of its 2 hours and 35 some minutes. Really an extraordinary movie called Three Sisters by Wang Bing. Really a great documentary. Also includes a booklet and an essay by Nick Pinkerton on Wang Bing's career as a documentarian, which is worth checking out because his other films have never been shown here. All right, Mark. Shall we get into? We gotta. You know what? We have Pink Panther stuff coming. Shall we talk Pink Panther?
Oh, is that the Pink Panther box set?
Yep.
Which you're gonna give me?
No. But hold on here.
Oh, please drop all those. Please drop all those. Oh, damn it.
So here's what we're gonna do.
You're gonna give me the Pink Panther box
set?
No,
I'm not. But here's what's interesting. So a little bit of backstory.
I'm going to go to sleep again.
Yeah. MGM some years ago released a complete Pink Panther box set, a big, plush, fluffy, pink thing that was, it had a booklet and a whole lot of fun stuff in it, and all the Pink Panther movies, and, well, not all of the Pink Panther movies, all the Peter Sellers Pink Panther movies, along with a couple of not Peter Sellers, well, along with, the Inspector Clouseau, starring Alan Arkin, and it had all the cartoons. So what we get here is the Pink Panther film collection from Shout Factory. God bless them, we love them, but these are only the Peter Sellers movies, no cartoons. So we don't have. So if you're thinking about getting rid of don't. You want to hang on to that because that's going to be still a collector's set. But it's nice to have just the Sellers films on Blu-ray. And what amazing movies they are. All 6 of them, brand new transfers, new interviews, audio commentaries, featurettes, all that stuff, plus a booklet. It is absolutely great. Gorgeous. These movies haven't looked this good in ages, and they're still funny, and Sellers is still absolutely amazing. Now, here's what's interesting. And the commentary on the Pink Panther is the original Blake Edwards commentary. Just want to say that. It's the original Blake Edwards commentary. And there's a great documentary, The Pink Panther Story. All this really, really good stuff. Now, here's what's interesting. When Shout Factory announced that, knowing that there are other Pink Panther movies that are not part of this canon, immediately somebody got busy over at MGM and Kino Lorber. I'm going to assume it's people at Kino Lorber, and said, hey, let's piggyback on that. And sure enough, they did. So this week we also have from Kino Lorber, to complement your Pink Panther Shout Factory complete Peter Sellers, the original Inspector Clouseau with Alan Arkin, which is still great, right? Do we like this?
Of course we do. Alan Arkin.
Come on, Alan Arkin was a good Clouseau as well. Doesn't get
he
enough
wasn't
credit.
Peter Sellers, but he was a good Clouseau.
Yeah, he's a good Clouseau. And this is directed by Bud Yorkin. Great director, comedy guy. Come on.
He's the Yorkiniest.
Yeah, we love Bud Yorkin. From 1968. And this has an audio commentary as well from film historian Patrick Maynard. And then they also gave us, we have two more from MGM and Kino. We get Curse of the Pink Panther on Blu-ray, which is not very good. This has a very, very troubled history. This is a 1983 film that Blake Edwards directed that has David Niven and just about everybody else on the planet in it. And Ted Wass is trying to anchor this thing and doing a very, very bad job.
What kind of uninspired casting was Ted Wass?
It was bad. It was a bad movie. However, it is still canon because Blake Edwards directed it. Henry Mancini did the music, and there you go. So Herbert Lom is in it, Robert Wagner, Robert Loggia. I mean, it's a thing. It's still canon. It's not, it's misguided. It's a disaster, but it's canon. And then lastly, we have Roberto Benigni in Son of the Pink Panther. Again, canon. Blake Edwards, right? Right? This was a misfire too.
This was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. But
that was like Benigni at the time when we were willing to culturally accept him.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I don't know what happened to you for the last 10 years.
No, it's all over. He came and went. But Herbert Lom's still in this.
Even Steve Martin. I'm like, you know what, Steve Martin? Okay. One of the great comedians. Let's see what Steve Martin does with it.
But Herbert Lom's still in this.
He's the
93.
Lomiest.
He just didn't go away.
I remember. I only love Stephen Lom in The Dead Zone, where he plays that crazy doctor.
Oh yeah. Anyway, this is from 1993, and it's got a very interestingly strange commentary from Jason Simos of the Peter Sellers Appreciation Society. A couple of deleted scenes and extended trailer and making a featurette. It's all on there. But it's a lot of Pink Panther this week, is what I'm saying. The Pink Panther box set with the Peter Sellers films from Shout Factory, and then Son of the Pink Panther, Curse of the Pink Panther, and Inspector Clouseau with the amazing Alan Arkin from Kino. So a lot of fun.
And the box set, you're going to give me that?
I'm going to do a marathon with my daughter. What I was going to say earlier, talking about the Batman films. So because my mother-in-law was in Batman Returns, my wife was scouring it, looking for all the little moments where she might spot her mom in the crowd scenes. And my daughter is watching this while she's doing it, and now she's obsessed with Batman and that funny penguin guy. She thinks the penguin's hilarious. Danny DeVito's disgusting as the penguin in that thing.
Yeah, does he like drool and eat fish?
Oh,
and
it's
bleeding?
horrible. Yeah. It's like I'm thinking, boy, are you going to love Burgess Meredith? So much funnier. So I gotta show her that this week. Anyway. All right. So let's see. Let me get into some classic movie stuff. Let's see. I had this set aside for. Okay, so this is foreign, actually, but I'm going to cover it anyway because it's Criterion. Kenji Mizoguchi's Ugetsu, which is one of his great accomplishments. 1953, one of the early Japanese New Wave masterpieces. Really an amazing movie. Mizoguchi is kind of the godfather of the Japanese New Wave. Definitely was it wasn't a precursor to Kurosawa, but he sort of hit big earlier than Kurosawa. They were making movies very much at the same time. And Mizoguchi made Ugetsu in 1953 and just won the admiration of the world very, very deservedly. This is an amazing movie. It is a ghost story that predates Kwaidan, but it is a very, very literate kind of an existential drama that ranks right up there with The Seventh Seal, and it's amazing. It's really amazing to watch. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. Deals with so many tough existential and social issues. Great commentary here by Tony Raines, who knows this film inside out and upside down, and it's very, very clear. There's also a 1975 documentary on the life and career of Mizoguchi, and a really great 2005 interview with the first assistant director on the film, who gives you some amazing stories as well. So a lot of great stuff on this. Blu-ray special edition, Ugetsu, Kenji Mizoguchi's amazing masterpiece from 1953, one of the greatest Japanese films of all time.
What? That's a bold claim, Wade Major.
It is. It's great. Ugetsu.
Have you seen every single Japanese film ever made in their entire filmmaking history?
Let me count.
And then you have ranked them?
27,618. Yeah, except for the anime. I haven't seen all the anime.
You've seen all the anime twice.
Maybe. Whatever. What else we got here?
We have The Lawnmower Man. Back in the day, this movie was a bit of a phenomenon because this movie actually, even though it's like a B movie,
I hated this movie.
Even though it's a B movie with Jeff Fahey, the only thing he was ever known for, Jeff Fahey, Pierce Brosnan's in this too. This was a film that it hit at a moment when virtual reality was like this dream thing that looked like it was happening, and it was starting to hit the culture that virtual reality is this cool futuristic thing that might happen someday. So Lawnmower Man came out at the very right time, and it was a bit of a moderate success. They actually made a sequel. Right? Did they make a sequel to Lawnmower Man 2?
Yeah, they did. I think they may have made 2 sequels. I don't get it. Whatever.
I mean, they're really poorly done B movies, but somehow again, it was really on the forefront of the trend of caring about the cool future that virtual reality represents. So it's an adventure film. Evil lurking in the shop, which is this secret group that that wants to use the virtual reality technology to create this big war machine, destroy the world. So Brett Leonard did it. There's all sorts of futuristic effects, at least futuristic for the time. All I can say is that if you know what this movie is, you can rent it.
Yeah.
If you don't know what it is, don't waste your time.
I remember walking out of the screening of this thing. Was it a screening at the time? I guess it was a screening. I had just started reviewing movies. And I remember thinking, this New Line thing isn't going to last. Because this is a New Line movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And New Line was not yet a Warner Brothers company at the time. This was like one of their big attempts, if memory serves, this is one of their big attempts to sort of be a studio, right? And I remember thinking, this isn't going to last. And then Warner Brothers bought them, and they became part of Time Warner. But, boy, I hated this movie. I really did.
It had a pop culture moment.
Yeah,
you know?
it did. It sure did. Okay, so ton of stuff from the Kino people, and let me burn through this because there's some great stuff. I just spent the last week really kind of reviewing a lot of this. We mentioned the Chinese film Three Sisters. There's another Three Sisters out this week, and people may get confused. So keep them straight. One is on DVD. The other one is available on Blu-ray. One is from Icarus. The other one is from Kino. And the one from Kino is Three Sisters, Anton Chekhov's Three Sisters. This is based on the Anton Chekhov play from the American Film Theater version. And this is directed by Laurence Olivier, produced by the Royal National Theater. And it is a very literate, surprisingly engaging for Chekhov, 1970 British production that really should be seen if you're a Chekhov fan, and even if you're not. Chekhov sometimes can be really, really taxing.
How about Sulu? Can he be taxing?
Oh, I knew you were going to do a Star Trek joke. Why did I know that? But this is the one that most people say is the most accessible of his plays, and Olivier does a really, really good job with this. So Alan Bates is phenomenally good in this as well. He was really a big deal at the time. Joan Plowright, who was married to Olivier, is also very, very good. So even if you're not a Chekhov fan, check out the Blu-ray of Anton Chekhov's Three Sisters, directed by Laurence Olivier. It's a really great release from Kino. Here's some other stuff from Kino. 8 Million Ways to Die with Jeff Bridges and Rosanna Arquette. Great, great trash from the 1980s. This is not a good movie, but I still enjoy it. And I think that has to do with the fact that Hal Ashby, even when he is in the waning stages of his career, he can still bring it.
Well, he had that magical decade.
Yeah.
That 10-year run that was, and this is at the
Which is
tail
unprecedented.
end.
Yeah.
The tail end of his magical 10-year run.
Yeah.
And this really is.
It's not a very good movie. It's not a very good movie. And it's not a horrendous movie, but it's just sort of everything that was wrong with the 1980s. It's just the wrong collection of people working on a thing. For example, like Hal Ashby directing a screenplay co-written by Oliver Stone. Does that make sense in any world?
It reminds you that Oliver Stone started as a screenwriter. He did a lot of screenwriting.
Yeah, but I mean, look, an Oliver Stone screenplay directed by Brian De Palma, that makes sense. Directed by Alan Parker, that makes sense. Hal Ashby? No, because Hal Ashby's all about like relationships and humanity and humanistic and like the little moments. And Stone is about like, snorting cocaine and shooting people and beating people's testicles out. I mean, that's Stone is bombast. Hal Ashby isn't bombast. That's a bad marriage. I mean, the screenplay was co-written by David Lee Henry, so Stone isn't the only guy involved here. But it's not really Hal Ashby material. Still, bad Ashby is better than no Ashby.
Bashby?
We also have Thunderbirds Are Go and Thunderbirds 6. The two Thunderbirds feature films are out in a double feature from Kino Studio Classics. A lot of fun. Love the Thunderbirds on TV as a series. They're still great in these two films. And Sylvia Anderson and David Lane do the audio commentary here. There's also a secondary audio commentary with other people here. Nick Redman and Jeff Bond. Nick Redman, again, who has done, commentaries for a lot of people, but who is also a principal in Twilight Time, does the co-anchors that secondary commentary on Thunderbirds Are Go. And then Greg Ford and cartoon writer William Hohauser do the secondary commentary on Thunderbird 6. A lot of featurettes, a lot of fun stuff on how the Super Marionation works. Really, really great. I'm just thrilled that this is out on Blu-ray. That's a great get. Gloria Swanson in Zaza, directed by Alan Dwan, who would go on to do a lot of great sound films. This is a kind of a legendary 1923 Gloria Swanson silent, worth checking out. It is sort of more interesting as an artifact of history than it is just for its entertainment value, but it is worth checking out, definitely, just because it's Swanson and Dwan, and they would go on to be really, really significant figures. This is a great transfer. This is probably looks better than most silent films on Blu-ray these days, so give that a check. The DePatie Freleng animation collection continues to be released on Blu-ray through Kino with the Blue Racer. It's a little bit creepy. If you watch the the Pink Panther cartoons. That's a better representation of this style of animation from this particular animation organization. But there are some, the shorts here are modestly engaging, and there's a couple of documentaries on here as well that are and some audio commentaries. We also have from the American Film Theater another Kino Classics release, Maximilian Schell in The Man in the Glass Booth, which got him an Oscar nomination in 1975. You ever seen this?
I have not.
Yeah, I hadn't either. The makeup is really, really quite bad. Arthur Hiller directed this as well. He was busy then. The idea here, it feels a little theatrical. And Maximilian Schell is good despite the makeup. The restoration is really good. The transfer is very, very good. But as far as movie, this gets into Nazi war crimes, and there's a lot. It's one of those sort of post World War II, the residue of World War II and the Holocaust. It continues to trail after the war many decades and drag other people into the ugly center. Anyway, the movie doesn't age very well, but the performance is still good, and it's a nice little artifact of history. So that's from the American Film Theater with Maximilian Schell. And then just a few final ones here. Billy Wilder's 1, 2, 3, which is a little bit of a forgotten Billy Wilder film from 1961. He had done... people were sort of, he had done The Apartment and Some Like It Hot, and in that particular era, he kind of he made a few that for the Mirish Company that didn't really catch fire in the same way. I think this is a much better film than most people give it credit for. He wrote it with Izzy Diamond, as he did most of his great movies. And James Cagney, not exactly the guy you'd normally plug into a Billy Wilder movie, but he does a great job. I think this is still a very, very funny film. Deserves to be rediscovered. And, give it a shot. That's out there on Blu-ray as well. And then The Parodying Case, another Alfred Hitchcock film that oftentimes gets a little bit overlooked. This is from 1947. And is still really, really a fantastic film, beautifully put together. Gregory Peck and Ann Todd, once a wife of David Lean, by the way, do a great, great job in this, along with Charles Laughton and Ethel Barrymore. One of Hitchcock's better thrillers from that period. That's when he's really getting his American chops on. Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas in Tough Guys. You remember this?
I do remember that.
Yeah,
Actually,
1986. This was supposed to be it was like, let's go dig up a couple of guys who had been tough but never made a movie together, and let's basically stick them together as old guys. And we could argue that this was the first Expendables, right?
That's
kind of.
Kirk Douglas still around.
I remember the premiere of this.
Oh, God.
You know that? I remember the premiere of this. I was an assistant manager at the Plaza Theater at the time, and the premiere was at the Bruin, and they had these little, they had a whole bunch of like funky swag. I remember it very, very well. Tough Guys. I also remember that was around the same time that City Heat, remember?
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Similar gig. Yeah, they were all doing those dig up the old guys and put them in movies together. Anyway, you know what? It's a better movie than I remember it being. Jeff Canoe does an audio commentary, and then there's a trailer as well. It's fun. These guys, you can't really put those guys together in a movie and have it not be fun. And then lastly, we're going to go out on this. The long overdue Blu-ray release, finally, of 1492. I don't know why this took so long. I don't know why Kino had to pry this loose from Paramount. I don't know why Paramount didn't do a special edition release of this on their own. Makes no sense to me. Ridley Scott directed one of two Columbus anniversary movies in 1992.
That's right.
Remember, it was the 5th 500-year anniversary of Columbus's alleged discovery of America, discounting everyone who discovered it before him. But nevertheless, Columbus gets the credit for it. And there were two movies. And the other one was that one with George Corofis, and that was horrible.
Lame.
At Columbus.
That's right.
Oh, that was a dreadful movie. This one is not great. It's got problems, but Ridley Scott really directs the hell out of it. He does. He just directs the hell out of it. And Rosalind Bosch wrote a very, very literate screenplay. I did the press day for this, and I remember it very, very well. It was Gerard Depardieu was thrilled that I spoke French because there was no one else there who spoke French, and he pulled me aside and just started asking me, like, hit me with all kinds of questions. So I was like, I really? He's a chatterbug. It was the weirdest thing. It was the funniest, strangest thing. But 2.5 hours of Ridley Scott just really working it. It's a little bit simplistic in how it kind of whittles the story out of that whole episode, but nonetheless, it's a really well done film. And most importantly, it has the other Vangelis score for a Ridley Scott movie other than Blade Runner, and it is a great score. It is one of Vangelis's great scores. I am a huge Vangelis fan and cannot get enough of his score in 1492. So there it is. That's our show for the week.
Yay!
So we may have a show next week if I can rope Tim into doing something. Don't know if he's going to be in town. He may be leaving town as well. So stay tuned. There may be a show. There may not be. The week after will not be a show. I will be doing my little stint over in Jordan. And I will try to do updates on the Facebook page to share the exploits with people. But otherwise... that's it. Mark, any wishes, any well wishes for the 4th of July since you won't be here? You want to wish people a happy 4th of July?
No.
No. Well, there it is. See you soon.